The meeting to order this morning. Now I'd like to call the meeting to order then, I guess. It's a 10:03 apparently. And I'll ask the clerk if call roll, please.
Mr. Hartwig,
Present.
Mr. Mulligan,
Here.
Mr. Robertson, Dr. Goodwin, Mr. Saldani. Through the chair, we have quorum.
Thank you very much. That takes us into item number 3, then the approval of the consent calendar. I'm assuming everybody's had a chance to review the consent calendar, and I will ask if anybody has any changes, and if not, if somebody would please make a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So we have a unanimous vote on that, which takes us then to item number 4, which is the public hearing. So with that, I will ask all witnesses who intend to testify today to please stand and raise your right hand so that the board may swear you in. Wait, everybody's in a small room, everybody's standing. This is great. Do you have anybody on the VTC that needs to stand up as well?
I have a guess. I don't know that they heard.
Okay. Were they planning to testify? Do we know? Okay, well, regardless, if they're standing up, then they can come and testify later here. So do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matters pending before the hearing board today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Say yes, thank you. Perfect. You may be seated. And that takes us then to 4A, which is docket number C-24-17S, a short variance for MRP San Joaquin Energy LLC. And with that, I'll ask any applicants, I guess, we're gonna have the podium. So whoever is testifying on their behalf to come to the podium and introduce yourself, please. I think you got to push the button to turn it on. We could probably all hear you anyway, but.
So I'm JT Shea. I'm the environmental compliance manager for MRP San Joaquin Energy Henrietta Peaker plant.
And I'm Jesse Landry. I'm the O&M manager for San Joaquin Energy.
Thank you. And I'm Estelle. Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah.
Will you guys spell your last names for us, please?
It's Shea, S-H-E-A.
And it's Landry, Landry.
Thank you, Estella. Perfect. Then I will turn it over to Estella then to help us out.
Good morning. My name is Estela Soto, and I'm a senior air quality specialist for the district. Before you is MRP San Joaquin Energy LLC, or MRP. They operate 2 combustion turbine generator sets at their Henrietta Peaker plant in Lemoore, California. The 2 turbines operate to generate a total of 93.8 megawatts of electricity when required to satisfy demand under a power purchase agreement with PG&E. As required by district rules and applicable permit conditions, the facility has a continuous emissions monitoring system, or SEMS, designed to measure and record emissions. District permit for unit number 1 for NOx, CO, O2, and O2 SEMS analyzers allow MRP to demonstrate compliance with emission limits while combusting natural gas to produce electricity. The Code of Federal Regulations, or the CFR, district rules, and MRP's permit conditions require that a relative accuracy test audit, or RATA, be conducted once every 4 calendar quarters. The RATA certifies that the SEMS is operating accurately and validates emissions data until the next annual RATA. If the RATA is not completed by June 30th of 2024, the due date, the data collected by the analyzer is considered invalid. On May 21st, MRP discovered that there was an unexpected stack stratification causing an increased NOx concentration near the SEMS probe on unit number 1. On June 26th, the NOx and ammonia samples were analyzed along a 45-point grid to determine emission stratification immediately after the ammonia catalyst. On June 27th, after analyzing the data, it was determined that the repairs needed could not be completed prior to the June 30th due date. MRP is working on several permanent fixes in a parallel path to achieve compliance as quickly as possible. It has been determined that the NOx analyzer was operating correctly, but the SEMS probe was located in the stack where NOx concentration is higher than any other part of the stack due to exhaust stack stratification. The facility is over-reporting NOx, but still within the emission limits of the permit. MRP is working on designing and installing a multi-point stack sampling probe for the SEMS, as this will capture multiple emission points throughout the stack to capture a more representative sample of the emissions and meet the regulatory performance specifications for stack stratification for the RADA. The facility is confident that this project can be completed within the 90-day short variance period. This repair will become permanent and will ensure the facility is capturing the best possible continuous emissions profile from the combustion unit. Therefore, MRP has requested a short variance from district rules in addition to conditions of the applicable permits. The requested short variance would be for 90 consecutive days to occur between July 1st and September 28th, 2024 inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow MRP to operate the subject facility without a certified SEMS while the facility conducts the repairs necessary to conduct the RADA. The district believes that the required findings set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that MRP be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 3, 4, and 5 of the staff report. And that concludes the district's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella. Gentlemen, do you guys have anything? Actually, I guess I have I'll go to them and I have a question, but go ahead. Do you guys have a presentation to make or just here to answer questions, or what's your pleasure? Do you guys want to say anything in addition, or?
I believe we tried to put all the information already in the various petition. I'm happy to answer any questions, but we have already third-party contactors.
Any questions by our board members?
I have one. Are you a new facility? Okay. Was it a different name before, or I just don't recall coming before the hearing board before. I'm just curious.
No, I don't believe the last time this facility would be brought before the hearing board, I believe they replaced their SEMS analyzers. Maybe back in 2016, forgive me, it's a guess, but usually the plant runs pretty well, so we would have noticed that.
Oh, that's good. That's a good record.
Mr. Lonnie?
I just have a question of staff. I don't know if it was just in my packet, but
No, it's
the application that's attached to this item reflects certainty. Is that? I know certainty has an item on the agenda.
It's after the condition, the page after the conditions.
Yeah. And in fact,
Oh, yeah, so that should go with the certainty staff report. It was just,
okay, and I think we have the same
On the second
issue on the second one. So there are two applications for certainty, and I don't see the application from MRP. So just for purposes of creating a record, I want to make sure that that's included at some point, corrected. Unless I missed it in my packet, I don't.
No, it's from both of the MRP.
there is one petition for the Henrietta plant, but it's attached right after the,
There's that.
on mine, it's
I didn't have,
it's attached to docket 18S though.
oh, they're on page 1 of on the second one.
There it is. Okay, so that one goes with the previous one.
Well, that one
Well,
goes with
there's two.
18S because MRP has two petitions.
And that was my,
Right.
that was my
That's
question.
okay.
Why there was 2, I guess.
So there should be a second one.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You don't. Anyway, just to clarify the record after the fact, we can just make sure all the paperwork's included in the record. That was all.
And I guess my question was why are there 2 separate ones? They seem kind of similar, but I'm just curious why we ended up with 2 for.
Right. Yeah, so the second petition is basically the same issue, only they are installing, let's see, they're replacing the existing single point sample probe within unit number 1. So they had already submitted the first petition.
Okay.
So they had to submit a second, right? And once they discovered that they needed to do that, they submitted a second petition.
Yeah, I was just curious why. Any other question, or Dr. Goodwin, you had a question
Yes, what's the cost of this upgrade?
for the microphone? I turned it on already for you, Dr. Goodwin. Yeah.
What's the cost of the upgrade?
So I tried to estimate that prior to the hearing. We're still in progress of the process of speaking with a few different manufacturers for the new multi-point sample probe. So we don't have a quote for that yet. However, we are going to have to at least conduct a separate RADA, which will be, again, forgive me, this is an estimate. We don't have quotes on this yet. We're still in the process of reaching out, getting multiple numbers, but looking back on the most recent RADA quotes, probably around $18,000 for the next test.
Now, is this multi-level strata probe, is this unusual? I mean, is this hard to get? Is this unusual for your business?
No, I don't believe they're very unusual. I think I've spoken with several other sites that use units similar to ours. And just to get ideas from different people, see what works best. They don't seem unusual at all.
Are there any other questions of the petitioner or staff at all? If I don't have any more questions here, is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on this matter, either here in the room or online?
No public comments online, none in press.
With that, I will ask if anybody is willing to make a motion here at this time.
I move to approve docket number C2417S. Variance for 90 consecutive days to occur between July 1 and September 8th with all the terms and conditions set forth in said document.
Second. And with that, I will ask then if the clerk would please call the roll.
Mr. Hartwick,
Yes.
Mr. Saldani,
Aye.
Dr. Goodwin, Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
through the chair, motion passes.
Very much. All right, that does it for 17S. I guess, would you guys reintroduce yourselves for 18S here and spell your names, please?
You got it. You can do it in a different order if you want.
Make it interesting.
Yeah, I'm Jesse Landry.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I'm the O&M manager for San Joaquin Energy. Last name is Landry.
I'm JT Shea, the Environmental Health and Safety Manager for MRP San Joaquin Energy. That's SHEA.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And Estella, I'm assuming it's you again.
Yes, that is me again. So thank you. So again, Estela Soto for Valier District. So this is exactly the exact same petition as 17S, only that they are needing to replace the single point probe with a multi-point probe. And so after the installation, the SEMS has to be recertified, which includes a probationary calibration and the relative accuracy test audit also. So it's exactly the same as before. And they are requesting a short variance. The requested short variance would be for, again, 90 consecutive days to occur between July 1st, 2024 and September 28th, 2024 inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow MRP to operate the subject facility without a certified SEMS until the replacement of the existing single point sample probe within Unit 1 is completed and the SEMS can be recertified for the applicable parts of the CFR. The district believes that the required findings that set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that MRP be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 3, 4, and 5 of the staff report. And that concludes the district's presentation.
That was efficient. I appreciate it. Gentlemen, you have anything to add here at all?
We could re-ask the same questions from earlier. Yeah, it's very similar. So just a little bit of background. You asked about the multi-point probe. So the whole issue is caused because our current probe is just a single point with the single point of collection. We found through testing that the stack actually has very different emissions throughout the whole stack. So this new multi-point probe the design that we're currently looking at will just go straight across the stack with 3 sample points. And that should get a more representative sample of the whole stack. Our current probe is actually reading about 1 ppm higher than everywhere else in the stack. So any emissions that we read while the unit operates will actually be higher than those in the rest of the stack, so we can make sure that no excess emissions are occurring.
Are there any questions for the petitioners or staff here by our esteemed board, Jerry?
I have one question. So you have a single point of right now that's monitoring. How are you getting the other samples to let you know that it's higher than other areas in the stack?
That's what we found during the RADA. Prior to the RADA, the source testers did a stratification test, and the points that they do along that test are different from where our probe is. If you're looking at the stack top down as a circle, basically our probe sticks in at one point and they traverse across an X. So there's one small area right at our probe that's higher than the rest. And they collected 12 samples across the rest of the stack.
Thank you.
Is there any way you can give an estimate? How big is the stack? How wide, what's the circumference, sir?
It's 10 feet in diameter.
Anybody else here? Being none, I'll ask then if any member of the public, whether online or in the room, has any comments to make.
No public comments, none online.
And you don't have anything to say? Okay. Good. I just. All right, with that then, if there's no public comment, then I will ask for a motion then. Anybody's willing to make one?
I'll move to approve MRP San Joaquin Energy LLC petition for a short variance set forth in docket number C2418S with the required 6 findings of the Health and Safety Code adopted by reference set forth in the staff report. Requested short variance would be for 90 consecutive days to occur between July 1st and September 28th, 2024 inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow MRP to operate the subject facility without a certified SEMS until the replacement of the existing single point sample probe with the unit number 1 is completed and the SEMS can be certified for the applicable parts of the CFR. Or until whichever occurs first, and it's subject to the conditions on pages 3 and 4 of the staff report.
You have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwin. If you'd please call the roll. then. Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks. Gentlemen are good to go. Thank you, guys. Thanks for putting up with us. Right, that takes us into docket number C-24-19S, a short variance for certainty. If the petitioner would please come forward, introduce himself and spell his last name.
Ben Cuthbertson, Certainty Chowchilla. Last name is Cuthertson.
Thank you. And Shannon, I'm guessing it's up to you here.
Morning, my name is Shannon Moore. I'm an air quality specialist here at the district. Before you this morning is Certainty LLC. They operate a glass melting furnace and other equipment associated with the production of fiberglass insulation. To control particulate matter emissions, exhaust from the furnace is vented through a preconditioning chamber with caustic soda injection and then routed through a dry electrostatic precipitator. NOx emissions are controlled by utilizing oxy-fuel to fire the furnaces. A continuous emissions monitoring system monitors emissions at the main exhaust stack. On July 1st, 2024, the electrostatic precipitator unexpectedly shut down, causing the emissions control system to go into bypass. Certainty promptly notified the district of the breakdown and began to investigate. They were able to trace the problem to a programmable logic controller, or PLC. They discovered that the PLC programming was inexplicably wiped out. They have since consulted with an engineer and contacted the manufacturer who did the original programming in order to determine the root cause of the problem and correct the program so it can be reinstalled into the PLC. CertainTeed was able to return to compliance within 24 hours by utilizing an older version of the program until an updated version with firmware can be installed. In order to reinstall the updated program, CertainTeed will need to briefly shut down the electrostatic precipitator and go into bypass. Therefore, CertainTeed has requested a short variance. Variance protection is necessary because the glass melting furnace, once heated up, operates nonstop for many years in what is known as a campaign. A furnace shutdown can take several days, typically resulting in significant damage to the furnace, and can take several weeks to get back into operational temperature. CertainTeed is requesting a short variance from requirements of the applicable district rules in addition to the conditions of the applicable permits. The requested short variance would be for a consecutive 24-hour period between July 18th, 2024 and September 1st, 2024 inclusive. If granted, the variance would allow CertainTeed to continue operating while they bypass the emissions control equipment in order to install and test updated programming for the PLC. CertainTeed has provided detailed emissions calculations with their petition, and they have calculated that excess emissions for a full 24-hour period will not exceed 2,981 pounds of PM10. The district believes the required findings as set forth in the California Health and Safety Code can be made and recommends that CertainTeed LLC be granted a short variance with the conditions on pages 3 and 4. That concludes the district's presentation.
Mr. Cuthbertson, do you have anything to add or to tell us about what's going on there?
Just want to clarify, we're talking about actually two programs. The firmware, which is embedded in the PLC, essentially got to a point where it couldn't complete its calculations, and it kicked our program out of the PLC. Just deleted it completely. We don't know exactly why it does that, but we've got new firmware on site now. So the time frame that we asked for is shortened. We should be able to do this within the next week.
How long do you, or I'm sorry, do we have, or I should ask other people, it's rude of me to go first. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm curious, how long do you expect the work to take? I know you're asking.
The upgrade to the firmware shouldn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes, but then they need to test everything and get back online. We don't expect the cap to be open for more than 2 to 3 hours in bypass.
Yeah, so then the 24-hour.
Yeah, that was, we just,
I mean, you have to go worst case.
we didn't know what, we don't expect it to be very long.
All of this work is being done in-house. You're not having outside people come in.
That's correct. Our engineer can upload the new firmware. We got the firmware from the manufacturer in response to our queries, and they can upload it and restart our programming.
Anything else from the board here? Seeing none, I'll ask if any member of the public, gentlemen, it's your time if you want, or anybody online, if you're.
No public comments, none online.
A public comment. Then if there's no public comment and nothing else from the board, I will ask if anybody's willing to make a motion here.
To approve the short variance for CertainTeed LLC docket number C2419S. He appears to fulfill the 6 requirements of the Health and Safety Code, and the variance shall be effective for up to 24 consecutive hours between July 18th, 2024 and September 1st, 2024 inclusive, or until the work is completed and things are operating properly, whichever occurs first. The variance shall be subject to the recommendations of our staff on pages 3 and 4.
Second.
If you'd please call the roll then.
Mr. Hartwig?
Aye.
Mr. Saldani?
Aye.
Dr. Goodwin?
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan?
Yes.
Through the chair, motion passes.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Then that takes us into item number 5, public comment. Times made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdiction. And there is a time limit associated with that. And I will ask if any member of the public, whether in the room or online, wishes to make a comment at this time.
No comments, none online.
Thank you.
Does that put the
Say that again.
does that put the time on it?
It does, yeah, for sure. Then takes us into item number 6, which is hearing board member comments. Any member of the board wish to make a comment? Seeing none, new business doesn't appear to be any, so that's number 8, which is adjournment. So thank you, everybody.